Welcome back. I've got a review for a Vinegar Syndrome release, and that is Spookies. Of course, this was a film that languished out there in DVD and VHS rips. I mean, it was hard to get a hold of, but now it's on a beautiful Blu-ray release from Vinegar Syndrome, and I highly recommend picking it up. It's not a good film. It's really an incoherent film. The plot, to the extent there is a plot, it's a haunted house story with a sorcerer who has this Ouija board, and he's trying to kill off all the inhabitants of this house to give his wife eternal life. That's about as succinct as I can give this plot. There's all kinds of different monsters in it, some decent, some not. Apparently, one of the things that happened with this film was it's two different films, and it really looks like it in some respects. Michael Lee, who is the guy that started Vipco back in the 80s, the low budget trash cinema video nasties that he would release out on DVD. He put together some money and produced this film. And what had happened was he had shot like 45 minutes of film of another movie, Twisted Terror, I think might have what it was, the original title. And he wanted the guys that directed Spookies to finish the film in return for funding their film. And long story short is that didn't happen, but somehow, because of Michael Lee's influence or interference, however you want to look at it, you've got aspects of both films that ended up in Spookies. All kinds of, really what's interesting about this whole release is not the film, it's the two documentaries that are also included in the film, in the release. That's what makes this such a wonderful, wonderful release. There's two full-length documentaries, one about Vipco and Michael Lee, and then the other is a documentary about the making of Spookies. Man, those are cinema gold. I was so fascinated with Michael Lee. In fact, there's another, I don't know, 25-minute just extended sequence with just interviews of Michael Lee talking about his life and career, how he at 20 years old, became a millionaire overnight by going out and renting things like Lucio Fulci's zombie movie and then ripping it to DVD or to VHS and selling it, for $50 to Nigerians and other people that in the UK that couldn't get access to the film. Fascinating guy. Now, if you listen to the guys that made or attempted to make this film, Spookies, their hatred for him is unrelenting. I mean, as far as his interference and those type of things. But I found him really a fascinating guy, and unfortunately, Vipco, of course, went bankrupt. I don't think that in the end Michael Lee just didn't put together enough. He had a niche. He had a niche with the video nasties and releasing them on VHS, but when DVD came out and people wanted quality releases with great special features, he just wasn't up on that. And so he was kind of a one-trick pony in that regard. But I'm telling you, man, those two documentaries on this are the reason you buy this release. It's not for Spookies. It's for those two documentaries. I just found this to be a great, great release. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It was part of the Black Friday purchase, and I thought rather than just talk about it as far as my Blu-ray update, this really deserved to have its own discussion. So there you go. The other interesting aspect of this, that the director, Tom Dolan, was booted off the film, or he quit. I mean, depending on whose story here, and Michael Lee brought in Jeannie Joseph, who hadn't done anything. I mean, I don't know where he found her. I think she was like in some kind of an editing room and he runs into her, and he decides to hire her to do the film, to finish the film. And he became at odds with Jeannie as well, because he wanted to install these farting muckmen. Basically these monsters that were just mud monsters that farted. He thought farting was funny, and he was right, actually. I mean, so Jeannie Joseph, tried to stop, and she didn't want to do it, and but of course he's funding the thing, so he forced it. But really, I mean, he was right in that regard. It's like people that remember Spookies for the farting muckmen, really. So in some aspects, I think he had it right. Anyway, this was the whole backstory to Spookies, and the two documentaries is just cinema gold. And so I highly recommend picking this up if you get a chance, from Vinegar Syndrome. All right, well, that's going to do it for my update on or Blu-ray review anyway of Spookies. Thanks for watching.